Hello and welcome to Western Cinema Presents. Today's feature is the 2007 There Will Be Blood, starring Daniel Day-Lewis, Paul Daniel, Kevin O'Connor, Christian Hans, Dylan Fraser, Sidney McAllister, David Willis, David Warshawski, Cotton Orwin, Russell Harvan, and producer Daniel Upway. Um, the synopsis reads: There will be blood-spine epic about a family faith, power, and the story of chronicles the lines and times of Daniel Playview, who transformed himself from a down and cut silver miner raising a son on his own to a self-made oil tycoon. With me is my co-host, Deleted Scenes. How you doing, Deleted Scenes?
Doing very well. Good afternoon, everyone. You're in for a treat if you never got around to watching this movie at the time. It was very critically acclaimed, was nominated for the Best Picture Academy Award, and won several of them, including Best Actor for Daniel Day-Lewis. It was the second of his three Oscars. And this has kind of an interesting backstory to how it was conceived. This is based on a book, Oil, by Upton Sinclair, which is a very classic book of its time. I think it was written back in the 30s, if I remember correct. And what's interesting is that this is not a straight up adaptation of that novel. It is based on a chapter out of that book where there is a minor character that is very much in the vein of the Daniel Plainview character here, played by Daniel Day-Lewis, and it kind of takes that minor character from that book and kind of expands on him and tells this story that we are about to show you. I do want to remind everyone the movie is 2 hours and 38 minutes long, rated R. It's got a couple of intense moments in it, but it's not like what I would consider to be an overly graphic movie in any way. But just stay tuned, because this is very much a story about a descent into madness. It's kind of I kind of equate it in a way to The Shining, because he's kind of slowly going mad.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting film. It's not so much a Western, but it's kind of Western expansion.
Yeah.
And if you like, for example, shows like Dallas and stuff like that, this is kind of where those characters came from. This guy is like the first generation of those kind of characters. So buckle up. This is a good one. I do want to remind everybody, of course, that if you're watching live, you can follow along with us on Cosme. You can also follow along with your own physical copy. I'm sure it's on streaming somewhere. And let's see. And of course, folks, if you're watching this, later on. As much as we would love to show you this movie, due to YouTube guidelines, we are not allowed to do so. This is a commentary only track. So you will have to follow along. If you're watching this later, you will have to follow along with your own copy or um, watch it on streaming. I do very highly recommend this film. I'm going to say that up front. It's a very good one. Um, all right. We do have a couple of people who've joined us here in the chat. I do want to say hello to Faithful Blue Wrench, channel member, the Bird Woman of YouTube. Watch out for her channel, Fluff Check Productions, Connie Clary. And I also want to say hello to another channel member, the Tired Midnight Blogger, the voice of Northern Oklahoma, Curtis Selby. All right.
Yes.
And again, folks, we are simulcasting on both channels. Bill is the creator and host of this show. I came along a few years ago, just to give everybody who might be new kind of a quick little history of the show. Bill is the creator and host of the show, and I joined in a few years ago along with original co-host, the late legendary Son of a Red Shirt, and I kind of became the sidekick, and that's really all I am here. I'm kind of the comic relief for this thing, folks. So don't get me wrong. Those of you who think that this is kind of like my show or something, no, this was all from Bill's mind. I am the sidekick. I'm having fun, so I hope that you enjoy the show. I have actually done this show longer than any other one that I have on YouTube. So I'm just glad to be here. I'm happy to do the show with Bill, and hello to Fran Wilson Castaneda. Good to see you as well. It's been a while. All right, and I do want to remind everybody once again, the Cosme link is at the top of the chat.
Yeah.
There'll be a trivia section at the end of the film. All right. Well, let's get to it. Enough of my yakking.
Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, go.
This is the Paramount Vantage logo. It's basic, which was basically kind of like the Fox Searchlight of Paramount. I don't know if they're still a thing, but they were at the time. And of course, Miramax. Now, there are great stretches of this movie where there is no dialogue, and it's just music. And the music is by Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead. And very interesting score that many thought should have been Oscar nominated, but it wasn't for whatever reason. There was a technicality. Of course, we open here on Daniel Day-Lewis as Daniel Plainview, and he's this is his early days. He's a miner of gold and silver. He's a one-man operation at this point.
Yeah.
Movie starts off in 1898.
1898.
Yeah. And you see the very harsh conditions that he's having to work under.
Stick of dynamite. You gotta blow something up. Hail to Fran Wilson. Wow. Even I jumped in that explosion. Ooh, ouch. Ouch. Yeah, that would hurt.
Yeah, he's he's fallen down the mine shaft here, and he's injured himself, um, breaking a leg, among other things.
Oh, is it Silverleaf? I think Silverleaf
I
found
think
him.
silver, yeah. So he's injured himself, but he's found what he's looking for. But here's where you're going to see his tenacity kick in this sheer will that he has. He's dragging himself injured out of this hole, and now has to drag himself all the way to get help. And you see the distance he's going to have to go here. Yeah. And he's going to lay there, broken leg and all, until, you know, rifle at his
Yeah.
side while they count they count it. He's going to make sure.
There
1902.
we are. 2 years into the turn of the century.
Mhm. Only this time he's not alone. He's got people working for him now.
The soundtrack reminds me of 2001: The Space Odyssey. It's very similar.
Oh yeah. And of course, we see the child here who's HW, I think they call him. If I
Yep.
remember correct.
It's not even his child; it's his workers'
yeah.
child. Looks like they just dropped the drill head. And up comes Black Gold. You're right, Curtis. What darnation? Well, it's Black Gold. Shane, Black Gold.
Now again, we are 8 or 9 minutes into this movie, and there has not been a single line of dialogue. And we haven't really needed any either.
Yeah. He's got a big grin on his face already.
Mhm.
I wonder how much oil was worth at that time. Nowadays, oil goes off of how much one barrel of oil costs. So I wonder how they regulated that back then in 1902. Uh-oh. Ooh,
Ugh.
oh man. So there were two men in the well, and one of them
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
got his light punched out forever. The father of this child here.
And that's a trick my dad would do when I was an infant and teething. He would put a little bit of bourbon in it, like that. And now the first monologue.
It was 80 cents a barrel in 1902, or 21.45 a barrel in today's money. Wow! Thank you for that, not dropping knowledge on us, Curtis Shelby. That looks like, is that a river of oil? Or
Now, if I remember correct, that previous scene was the one that was in the book that I brought up earlier, but the rest is all Paul Thomas Anderson. Yes, line number one. Yeah, here we go. Of course, here's the introduction of Eli Sunday, is played by Paul Dano. Who's kind of the forgotten man in this movie. I think he should have been nominated. He really holds his own here.
yeah,
Oh.
he came in there quite cocky, didn't he?
Yeah.
Give me 500 now. No, no, give me 600.
No, next question. Right. This is the twin at the beginning. Yeah.
Of course, there's the introduction of Eli, also played by Paul Dano. And again, I say he's the forgotten man of this movie. And the boy's very good, too. Is Don Fraser. Everybody's good in this, actually, to be honest. Oh, well, bless my soul. What could this be?
So it really did happen, like in the Beverly Hillbillies. I always thought that was very fictional. You out there hunting pheasants, the next moment you know you found oil. Yeah, our timestamp is 32 minutes and 45 seconds. I love how Preview always low balls.
Let the games begin. Mm.
This shows how its tenacity is. Like,
Oh yeah.
I'm not coming to you. You come to me.
And hello to everyone who's joined us on Cosme today. CJPRPH1, good to see you. We are 45 minutes and 20 seconds into the film.
I noticed something about the score. It's very ominous.
Oh, yeah.
Very ominous through everything in every piece.
Mm.
This is the televangelist streak.
That's I'd say that's a fair assessment. Anonymous squirrel.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh, yeah. Wow, that's man.
Mhm. Pardon his French.
Yep.
HW is down. Those following along, timestamp is 1 hour, 10 minutes, 35 seconds. Those of you joining us, right? We are watching There Will Be Blood from 2007. Deaf as a post.
We literally see him growing into the major tycoon that he is becomes.
Actually, Curtis, Slumdog Millionaire was the year after. This was the year No Country for Old Men won the Oscar. And honestly, it could have gone either way, really. And the other nominees were Atonement, Michael Clayton, and Juno. So it was a good year. Of
Oh.
course. And of course, we have the introduction of Kevin J. O'Connor. So, second cousins and half brothers crawling out of the woodworks. Yeah. The important line there. Now, remember, for those of you who joined us yesterday evening for Netters Network's Retro Cinema, just remember, Flight of the Living Dead and There Will Be Blood were the same year. So that's
Wow.
quite a different film for
I'd say so.
interesting range of films for Kevin J. O'Connor to be in. But yeah. Yeah, two movies that are good in their own way, but you can't really compare them because they're so different. And here's the beginning of HW's Pyromaniac streak. Yeah, I do believe you're going to get a whooping for that.
The fact that he tried to burn him while he was sleeping alive.
Yeah.
Oh, this is he sent him away, right?
Yeah. A lot of H names in this movie,
Yeah.
HW, HM, Henry, Hamilton. David Orzechowski, who you might remember from Born on the 4th of July, Unstoppable, a character actor.
Our timestamp is 1 hour, 31 minutes, 23 seconds.
It's Bandy. All these years, Bandy still hasn't sold. Holy crap! Yeah, yeah.
The Pacific Ocean.
Yep. It's big, it's blue, and it's got a lot of fish in it.
That's pretty cold blooded there.
And how all of this could have been avoided through a simple web search. Oh wait, yeah. Here we go. William Bendy. At last. At 1 hour and 49 minutes.
Oh, that.
I truly wish everyone could be saved, don't you? Yes.
He's a little bit upset with him, isn't he? Oh. Welcome back.
All right. I don't know if anyone can hear me.
Yeah, I can.
I lost internet connection. I had to switch to my phone. We've had the whole baptism scene, which is one of the most famous scenes, and HW has returned, and we're to the infamous milkshake scene. They find a teacher for him, and Mary is learning as well.
This is him, HW, trying to see if he could hear.
And of course, cut to now years later, the now adult HW and Mary, 1927.
That's 1 year before the great market crash of 1928.
And if the actor who plays the older HW looks familiar, you might remember him from the Fargo TV series. Yep. And what does he not like? Competition, which he will see it as that. Mm-hmm. I mean, technically, he's not lying to him here, but
No,
this is not really how to go about it, though. Alrighty, I think I'm back now. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep. You're good.
Okay. Remembering back to simpler times. And now he's got nobody. In a way, it's kind of a Citizen Kane story too. You know, he has all of this wealth, influence. Where'd it get him? And now here's Eli, who we haven't seen since the scene with his father.
I find this ending to be a little bit anticlimactic, and it's always shocking.
Oh, I guess he's not competition. I take it. Drink your milkshake. Miss. Cutter doesn't count. Mm.
Stadium's just murdered this man.
Yep.
The music.
I'm finished. Yeah. In more ways than one.
And there will be blood. There was.
All right. Shall I consult the scrolls?
You shall consult the scrolls. Consult the scrolls.
All right. There Will Be Blood was released January 25th, 2008, widely in theaters in the United States. Released at the end of 2007 for awards consideration. Estimated budget of 25 million, going on to gross 76 million plus around the world. Was nominated for, if I remember correctly, 8 Academy Awards. Let me look real quick. Scrolling real high. Okay. All right.
Glad you like it, Curtis.
I'll get there. Okay, okay, here we go. Right, the Academy Awards. As I said earlier, Daniel Day-Lewis won Best Picture. I'm sorry, won Best Actor for this award. I can't speak. I'm sorry. He won the Best Actor Oscar award for this movie. It also won the Oscar for cinematography. Was nominated for Best Picture, editing, art direction. Best Director for Paul Thomas Anderson, adapted screenplay as well, and sound editing. Went on to be heavily nominated at other award shows that year. I think 112 other wins and 138 nominations. So, very popular film at the at awards time. All right, let me scroll past that list.
When I first saw the ending, I was just so shocked and blown away. It's like, what? And it just abruptly ends. It's just,
yeah,
I'm finished. I get it now, but I was just so shocked when I first seen it.
All right. Filming locations include Shafter, Texas, for the abandoned mine shaft. Lompoc, California. Presidio, Texas. El Mirage Dry Lake, California. Greystone Park and Mansion, 905 Loma Vista. Beverly Hills, California, for the mansion interiors and the bowling alley. Marfa, Texas. Santa Clarita, California. Thornwood Castle, 8601 North Thorn Lane, Southwest Lakewood, Washington, for the mansion exterior. And if Marfa, Texas sounds familiar, that is where they filmed the bulk of No Country for Old Men. So you had both of these productions in that town at the same time filming.
Yeah.
All right. To the trivia. Paul Thomas Anderson stated that he watched The Treasure of the Sierra Madre every night before filming this movie. In an interview on the National Public Radio program Fresh Air with Terry Gross, Paul Dano told Gross that he had originally been cast in a much smaller role of Paul Sunday, Eli's brother. Another actor had been cast as Eli. However, after Dano had already started filming his one scene as Paul Sunday, Paul Thomas Anderson decided to replace the actor playing Eli. Anderson then asked Dano to play Eli Sunday, a much bigger role, as well as Paul Sunday, and they decided to change the film to make the brothers identical twins. Anderson asked Dano to play Eli on a Thursday and began filming for the role. Filming for the role began after 4 days. On the next Monday, Daniel Day-Lewis, by contrast, had a whole year to prepare to play Daniel Plainview. Daniel Day-Lewis based his voice and characterization of Daniel Plainview in part on old recordings of the director, writer, and actor John Huston. An article by Christopher Goodwin in the Sunday Times of London revealed Paul Thomas Anderson sent Day-Lewis documentaries about Huston while he was preparing to play the role. All right. Sir Daniel Day-Lewis based... Oh, I said that already. While on location in Marfa, Texas, No Country for Old Men was the neighboring film production. One day, Paul Thomas Anderson and his crew tested the pyrotechnical effects of the oil derrick fire, causing an enormous billowing of smoke, intruding on the shot that Joel and Ethan Coen were shooting. This caused them to delay filming until the next day when the smoke dissipated. Both this film and No Country for Old Men would eventually become the leading contenders at the Academy Awards a year and a half later. Dylan Frazier, who plays HW, was not an actor. He was an elementary student near the film's West Texas shooting location. On the radio program Fresh Air with Terry Gross, Paul Thomas Anderson told Gross that when production was trying to convince Dylan's mother to allow him to be in the movie, his mother wanted to figure out who Day-Lewis was, so she rented a copy of Gangs of New York, in which Day-Lewis plays a murderous gang leader named Butcher. She panicked at the idea of her son spending time with the man she saw in that movie. So that there would be blood, casting department rushed her a copy of The Age of Innocence, in which Day-Lewis plays a civilized and gentle man. The film was originally given a 12A rating in the UK for cinema exhibition, meaning that children of any age could see it with adult supervision if they were younger than 12 years. In a curious move, the distributor subsequently appealed the British Board of Film Classification to consider raising the certificate. The BBFC agreed, and the film was subsequently uprated to a more restricted 15, preventing those younger than 15 years from being admitted to screenings regardless of parental supervision. Daniel Day-Lewis accepted the role of Daniel Plainview as he had been a fan of Paul Thomas Anderson's previous film, Punch Drunk Love. According to producer Joanne Seller, the film might not have even have been made at all if Day-Lewis had declined a role. Director Paul Thomas Anderson owns a vintage 1910 Pathé camera, which contains a special 43mm lens. The lens was specially modified to be used in the films, has very low resolution, and can shift colors at corners. Only certain shots of the film use this lens. For example, a shot of Plainview sleeping in the train with an infant HW. Daniel Plainview was modeled loosely after famous oil man Edward Doheny, and his characteristics were based on Count Dracula. Greystone Mansion in Beverly Hills was used at the end of the film. This house was built by Doheny for his son, Edward L. Doheny Jr., who went by Ned. Daniel Plainview bears some resemblance to a real early 20th century California Earl tycoon, Edward L. Doheny, as we said. Both were from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Both were employed by the Geological Survey and worked in Kansas. Both tried a hand at mining before going into the oil business, and both worked with a fellow prospector named H.B. Ailman. As for other Plainview Doheny connections, the bowling alley scene in There Will Be Blood was filmed at Greystone Manor, a California estate Doheny built as a present for his only son. Also, interestingly, the infamous milkshake speech Plainview gives is based on transcripts of the Congressive hearings concerning the Teapot Dome scandal, in which the very same Edward L. Doheny had been accused of bribing a political official. In the novel Oil, the characters that Daniel and H.W. Plainview are based on are named J. Arnold Ross and J. Bunny Arnold Ross Jr., respectively. Several characters seen or mentioned in There Will Be Blood seem to have been based on historical figures. Though his name is never spoken during the film, Plainview's business partner, H.B. Ailman, shares the same name of an actual prospector and oil man who was active during the turn of the century and associates with oil tycoon Edward L. Doheny, on whom Daniel Plainview seems to be partially based. The two Standard Oil representatives, H.M. Tilford and J.J. Carter, who meet with Plainview, are based on historical oil men. Henry Morgan Tilford, and once vice president of the Oil Standard Company during the turn of the century, while John Joyce Carter's Carter Oil Company was incorporated and subsidized by Standard Oil New Jersey in the 1890s. At one point in the film, The name AC Mod is stated as a property holder in Little Boston. The actual AC Mod was a prominent community member in Bakersfield, California during the late 1800s. Bakersfield is located in Kern County, where over 80% of California's oil wells are found. The name Redlick is also stated as a Little Boston property holder. Joseph Redlick was also a prominent community member of Bakersfield during the early 1900s. The town of Marfa, near the Texas-Mexico border, was used to simulate Bakersfield, California. A reason to support the use of the town is that there are many abandoned shafts dug in the early 20th century. One of the shafts was used in the film as a deep shaft, 60 to 70 feet, that connects to a mechanically dug perpendicular tunnel at the bottom. Other sets like the church were built from there. Paul Thomas Anderson planned to have restored the bowling alley used at the climax, located at the Greystone Mansion, to be entirely painted in white to give some Kubrickian symmetry and menacing quality, also a nod to A Clockwork Orange. However, he changed it to its original state when it was later decided that the bowling alley was to be given away for ownership after filming. Daniel Day-Lewis improvised a speech he gives to the citizens of Little Boston about building schools, bringing bread to the town, etc. Paul Thomas Anderson says of this, "It was delicious. It was plain view on a platter." Daniel Day-Lewis used oral histories from the time period to create Plainview's distinctive voices. In the summer of '06, during filming, a photographer took an on-set photograph of a man the photographer believed to be Daniel Day-Lewis, albeit with a great deal of physical alterations. The photograph appeared used on various film websites and magazines as an example of how drastically Day-Lewis had changed himself for the role. Upon viewing the film and applying common sense, it turns out this person was not, in fact, Daniel Day-Lewis. Rather, it was actor Vince Froyo, who portrayed Plainview's closest associate at the end of the film. The guy who's in the background of the shot with him and HB, that guy. According to Paul Thomas Anderson, the director and crew were pretty loose about where scenes would take place. This sometimes meant filming scenes 3 or 4 different times in different locations and evaluating the shot each time. The infamous "I drink your milkshake" is in part a real quote. Paul Thomas Anderson found the metaphor in Congressive transcripts in 1920s Teapot Dome scandal, in which Secretary of the Interior Albert Fall was convicted of accepting bribes for oil drilling rights to various lands. According to Anderson, I think it was Albert Fall who asked to describe drainage before Congress, and his way of describing it was, if you have a milkshake and I have a milkshake and my straw reaches across the room, etc. I'm sure I embellished it and changed it around and made it more plain view, but Fall used the word milkshake and I thought it was great. It was mad to see that word among all this official testimony and terminology. A fucking milkshake. I get so happy every time I hear that word. All right. The film is dedicated to director Robert Altman. The piece Convergence during the oil derrick fire was originally composed by Johnny Greenwood for the film Body Song and is available on soundtrack for that film, but not There Will Be Blood. Paul Thomas Anderson told Entertainment Weekly magazine that the fake oil used throughout the movie included the stuff they put in chocolate milkshakes at McDonald's. Ugh.
Wow.
Yeah. Ranked number 51 on Entertainment Weekly's 100 New Movie Classics list in 2008. Actor Kel O'Neill was originally cast in the role of Eli Sunday, but was replaced by Paul Dano after shooting had begun. Although the script is based on the Upton Sinclair novel, Paul Thomas Anderson used only the first 150 pages for a big portion of the material. The rest is contrived. The novel's setting was in the 1920s, but was moved to the beginning of the oil boom in California. A little-known band in Manchester, UK, has adopted the name of Eli and the Third Revelation in homage to the film. Along with his win in 1989, Sir Daniel Day-Lewis became only the 8th actor to win the Academy Award for Best Actor twice. The others were Frederick March in 32 and 46, Jack Nicholson in 75 and 97, Marlon Brando, 54 and 72, Gary Cooper, 41 and 52, Tom Hanks, 93 and 94, Dustin Hoffman, 79 and 88, Spencer Tracy, 37 and 38, Sean Penn, 2003 and 2008. Later became the 9th member of the club. And, of course, after Lincoln, that's when he got his 3rd. So, rarefied air. All right. Moving on. Paul F. Tompkins, who plays Prescott, is the only member of the cast to have appeared in a previous film directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. He had a small role in Magnolia that was cut from the finished film. The rest of the cast had never worked with Anderson before. Every Wednesday night during editing, Paul Thomas Anderson and company would have just steak and straight vodka for dinner to keep the mentality of Daniel Plainview. The tune that Plainview croons to the boy after the explosion is the traditional Gaelic song Grad Gael Mo Chirid, which I probably mispronounced, so ignore that, please. The $500 given to Paul Sunday by Daniel Plainview are 1882 series $100 gold certificates, which is appropriate because they contain a picture of Thomas Hart Benton. Benton was a senator from Missouri from 1821 to 1851 who was a staunch advocate of westward expansion. As of 2012, with $76 million worldwide gross, more than 3 times the budget, this is the most profitable film Paul Thomas Anderson has made. According to the script, Daniel's full name is Daniel Caldecott Plainview. The film takes place in 1898, 1902, 1911, and 1927. The screenplay for this film was featured in the 2006 Blacklist, a list of the most unmade scripts of the year. Included among the 1001 movies you must see before you die, edited by Steven Snyder. The opening shot with the vast mountains and foreboding score surging over them is reminiscent of the opening shots of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. Though Johnny Greenwood's score for this film was very well received, it was not eligible for the Best Original Score Academy Award, because it incorporates parts of his previous compositions, Popcorn, Superhet Receiver, and Body Song, as well as some other material composed by Alvar Part and Johannes Brahms. Named Best Foreign Film of the Millennium in a vote among Danish film professionals, Soundview Magazine 2017. Sir Daniel Day-Lewis worked on his role of Daniel Plainview for 3 years. Philip Seymour Hoffman was the original actor in mind when Paul Thomas Anderson wrote the role of H.M. Tilford, but Anderson decided to cast someone else as a means of distancing himself from his past works and have a sort of rebirth in his career without any loose ends connecting him to other more light-hearted films such as Boogie Nights or Punch Drunk Love. Hoffman was also busy filming Synecdoche in New York at the time of Tilford's scenes are being shot anyway. I mispronounced that, but moving on. The last of Paul Thomas Anderson's films to be shot, the 2.39 by 1 aspect ratio. The rest of his films are in 1.85 by 1 aspect ratio, has since returned to the CinemaScope ratio with Licorice Pizza in 2021. When Daniel Plainview first meets H.M. Tilford, he asks Tilford if he's going to change his shipping costs, to which Tilford replies, "We don't dictate shipping costs. That's railroad business." This is a deceptive reply, as Standard Oil, under the leadership of John D. Rockefeller, negotiated a 71% discount on shipping costs with Lakeshore Railroad, which no other oil company could match. This agreement allowed Standard to enjoy a near monopoly on oil in the late 1800s, which eventually led to the U.S. government breaking up Standard in the early 1900s into 34 independent companies, including Exxon, Mobil, Chevron, and Amoco. Ranked number 1 on The Guardian's list of the top 100 movies of the 21st century. This was the film debut of Dylan Frazier and Russell Harvard. Both play H.W. Plainview's character, but at different ages. As of 2019, it remains Frazier's only acting role. The steam locomotive used in this film was the number 2 from the Reeder Railroad or Reeder, Arkansas. It was built in Baldwin Locomotive Works in Pennsylvania in 1907. The Reeder Railroad also provided the rolling stock for the trains as well. Quentin Tarantino said his relationship with Paul Thomas Anderson was, quote, my most cherished relationship that I have with another filmmaker, and compared it to the relationship between Marlon Brando and Montgomery Clift. Brando is better because Montgomery Clift existed, and Montgomery Clift was better because Brando existed. As such, this film inspired Tarantino to be better, and he made Inglourious Basterds. The film's title is a passage from the Bible's book of Exodus. Subsequent chapters of Exodus describe a pillar of smoke by day and pillar of fire by night. The script originally ended with Plainview bludgeoning Eli to death with a tumbler instead of a bowling pin, then throwing his body through the bowling pins into the cellar beyond. Once on set, it was changed to the slightly less graphic version seen in the film. According to a 2007 interview with Paul Dano on the NPR show Fresh Air with Terry Gross, the scene where Plainview is baptized by Eli, where Eli slaps him several times, was shot the day after the scene in which Plainview threatens to bury Eli and slaps him around. Actor Russell Harvard, who plays the deaf adult H.W. Plainview at the end of the film, is actually deaf. Sir Daniel Day-Lewis appears in every scene of the film with 3 minor exceptions. He is not present in the scene where Eli Sunday, still covered in mud, berates his father, the church sermon, and in the brief montage of H.W. and Mary Sunday leading up to their marriage. Deleted scenes from the screenplay reveal that Daniel is impotent. He tells Henry, my cock doesn't work, and later, when the two are consorting with prostitutes, Daniel performs oral sex on a woman and then leaves. This is what Eli is referring to in the baptism scene when he claims that Daniel has lusted after women. Daniel's warning to H.W. that he's making a grave mistake by moving to Mexico to begin his own oil company would prove to be prescient. Only 10 years later, Mexican oil production would be nationalized, driving out all foreign companies. The film covers the mysterious circumstances surrounding the death of California oil man Edward Doheny's son, Ned, Edward Lawrence Doheny Jr., in the late 1920s. It was filmed at Greenstone Mansion, where police found the bodies of Ned and his male secretary, Theodore Hugh Plunkett. One of the first estates in Beverly Hills, California. The mansion was built by the Doheny family less than a year before the tragic incident. All right, and yeah.
Your scrolls are closed?
The scrolls are closed.
Okay. That one's available. It's available on Fandango at Home. It's currently on sale.
Mm-hmm.
Probably pretty cheap. I when I got mine, I got them as a bundle with No Country for Old Men, and I've been kind of been wanting to do. I knew that this movie's not much of a Western, but got some elements, very little, but
It's about Western expansion.
Yeah.
And which would fit, and the oil men who came in at around that time, and made that industry what it is for better or worse. So I mean, while it might not be considered a Western, it is, like you said, it has Western elements. Western expansion is very much a part of this film. Obviously, because I mean, we literally see this character go
from Wisconsin to being this, gold and silver miner, to using that gold and silver he made to begin this oil business, and he expands further west to eventually the ocean. So, to me, yeah, it tracks.
Well, we're glad that you guys were able to join us today.
Mhm.
And again, as much as we do love to show it to you, we just can't. We're restricted by that copyright.
Mhm.
So next week, I think we're going to do another Gunsmoke movie from 1990, Gunsmoke: The Last Apache. That came out in a TV movie of 1990.
Loretta?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So that is the film for next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Right. I do want to thank everyone for bearing with me through the connection issues I had. Hopefully, I will be able to get this cleared up in time for the top of the hour, where I will go on with Unscripted, episode 105. It's going to be entitled Hip to be Square. And I'm going to be talking about the Minecraft movie, my opinions on it. I have, at this point in time, seen the work print, this infamous work print version that's been floating around. I've seen it. So my thoughts on the film are going to be based on that. And I'm going to be talking about its box office, why it's successful where other films have not been, and I'm going to be talking about box office in general. And hopefully I will be able to have that information up for you. And yeah, and then there's no reserved seats this week, but that show will return. I'll let everybody know when I have some guests lined up. Let's see. If all goes as planned, I'm going to be joining Troy Pacelli and Netters Network tomorrow night for their member stream, Monday Night at the Movies, which is now a members-only show. And I understand the film is going to be the classic Arsenic and Old Lace. So look forward to that. Tuesday night is going to be a busy one for me. I am going to be joining Sin's Corner and Off the Cover for the Mystery Movie Night podcast. Here's the good news. There will be a mystery movie Monday night at AMC theaters, but not at Regal. So even though I'm going to be hosting the broadcast, I am not going to be seeing the movie. So I'm probably going to be talking about some of the other ones that I've seen over the weekend that I've already reviewed on my channel. Like, for example, Warfare, Black Bag, and the 40th anniversary edition of Vampire Hunter D. I am going to be reviewing that here soon on my channel. And I also saw In the Lost Lands as well, with directed by the other Paul Anderson, Paul W.S. Anderson.
starring, of course, Mila Jovovich and Dave Bautista. So I've got some thoughts on that. And let's see. Of course, after that'll be at 7, 8:30. Of course, live from Sparkwood in 21. Where among the topics will be the continuation of our deep dive into The Secret History of Twin Peaks, written by Mark Frost. Thursday, we usually have Action Theater, but we're putting that's going to be on hiatus still. Correct? Bill? Okay. Anyway, we usually have that at 3:30 on Thursdays. It's on hiatus, but it will return. We'll let you know when. And of course, later on that night at 11:30 is my show, Coming Attractions, and I'll let everybody know what will be coming up for my show and for my channel on for the next week, and hopefully I will not have to do it from my phone. All right. So yeah, all right. Enough of my yakking. That's it for me. Bill.
That's good. Okay. Well, I hope to be bringing back Action Theater on Thursdays. Not sure when, but hopefully soon. So that's all I got. I'm working on some video projects, so look out for those. And that's all I got coming up for right now. We thank you all for being here. Appreciate you. Without you guys, it would not be possible. So really, really appreciate each of you for taking your time to show up here today. As I say, always be excellent to one another. Party on, and we'll see you on the next one. You have a great rest of your day, evening. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Later, folks.
Thank you all for being here. Good night. Take care. Stay strong. Be safe and healthy, because this is how we win.